Gateshead, Tyne and Weir. Despite the glitz of new development, this region still has stubbornly high unemployment. The big question for Gateshead's children and schools is how do they start to make a bridge between the aspirations of this region as a part of a world-class economy and the reality for many of a world where some families haven't had work within living memory.
I even tell my daughter that if you don't work at school, you'll end up like Daddy, not being able to go out and get a proper job. I say to her, I wish I did do my work at school. I wish I'd have come out with GCSEs because I could have gotten a job. But now, because I haven't got GCSEs, it's quite hard to find a job.
It's given a goal for future life. And they need that because they don't want to think, well, when I leave school, I'll just go on the dole and just sponge off my mum. That's what some kids would do. Or get into drugs and do all the other stupid things that they do, which we do have them problems around here, unfortunately.
I mean, there is jobs, but once you're on the street, you're on the street and that's it.
Come on, let's do the dance. Okay.
It's not that the children in schools like this one on the Swalwell estate are short of ideas for their futures. It's more a question of if the X Factor style dance club they've set up is going to lead to something realistic and attainable.
There's nothing wrong with dreaming about being a pop star. I think we've all done that. But what needs to happen in places like Swalwell is that we need to have more than dreams. We need to have actual, true aspirations for the children. These children need to have a look at careers that they are actually out there. For example, in the service industries, in the chemical industries. And they need to know that they actually have a chance of getting jobs in there. So it's not just a dream, it is an actual thing that they can aspire to.
I'm leaving 2008, going to 2020. Bye! It's the year 2020. How old are you? 22. What job do you work at? Ice cream man.
Dylan's limited aspirations are typical of many. Now Seal has given them a platform to explore their futures.
If you couldn't be an ice cream man, what would you do? I'll start working at the cashier.
The introduction of social, emotional aspects of learning is pivotal across the whole curriculum. It's enabled children to articulate their hopes, their dreams, their aspirations. It's enabled them to increase their emotional intelligence, to talk about things that really matter to them. And in talking about them, they actually begin to visualise them, and that helps them to realise it.
If you weren't a beautician, what would you be? Teacher.
When I came here about 18 months ago, the school was in danger of going into an Ofsted category.
Row 1, can you lead out, please?
And it was a priority to raise achievement and aspirations as much as we could. We realised very quickly that a lot of the children in school didn't actually know the purpose of coming to school. It's so very much important to share the big picture with the children so that they know, what life is all about and how school fits into that and how we can raise their aspirations to essentially be the creators of their own destiny.
Realising that children had very little concept of the world of work was the first step across the bridge to raising the children's aspirations. The next step was to take a hard look at the delivery of the curriculum, planning in opportunities for careers-related learning.
We have what's called Fair Trade Fridays, and the children are involved in selling the fair trade bars to other pupils. We link this with different work in the curriculum. The maths work fits in very nicely. The children every week take part in working out how much we've sold, how much profit we've made, and also where we need to go next.
12, 15, 18, 19, £1.92. We're only getting 3 pence profit, aren't we? Because the bars are £1.89. So 89, 90, 91, 92. We're getting £3 pence profit.
Swalwell had for several years very low academic results. Last year, only 42% of children achieved level 4 in both English and maths. This year, 74% did. That is an impact. Now, part of that was due to the ethos that was introduced into the school because they could see a very clear reason for coming to school, because at the end of it they could see what their academic work was leading to.
But the school isn't achieving this dramatic turnaround without some crucial partnerships. The local universities are involved through Head Start, a package of support targeting schools in deprived areas to facilitate university visits for Year 6 children.
Okay, and so we're talking about having lots of different challenges around the campus, looking into the different departments and things like that. So what do we want to show them once we've got them here on the campus?
Some of them will be coming from backgrounds where their parents have been to university, so it's an eye-opener for them.
Today we've been planning towards an Ask Day, which is apprentice students on campus. It's for Year 6 children that come onto campus. Sometimes come with their teachers, they sometimes come with their parents. They just get involved. There's student tutors involved who basically look after them for the day, take them round, answer questions, tell them interesting things. And then it just gives them a whole new look at what university is, rather than them just thinking it's a big, scary place that they'll never get to in their lives.
The difference from beginning to the end of the day is phenomenal. We had little children running around going, oh, I'm going to be an engineer, I'm going to be an architect. Before they got there that morning, they didn't know what an engineer or an architect was. So it really is just to get hold of them at a really young age and just say to them, you know, these opportunities are there for you.
As the name implies, Students Into Schools also places undergraduates in 500 schools across the northeast.
About a quarter of the students, there's about 600 a year do the programme, are maybe thinking about going into teaching, but 3/4 aren't. And underpinning all of this is contact with current undergraduates who say, well, for me, this is what university is like. I didn't come from a background where any of my family went to university. I found it difficult, but I managed by doing it this way. So it's a very personal story.
But the university visits started a debate around whether the journey from school to university should be a universal goal for all children.
My son, if he went to university, I'd be on the stars, me. I would, because I think it's fantastic for them.
They go to university, they get the degrees, but there's no job for them when they come out. And yet the country's crying out for plumbers, electricians. Nobody wants to get their hands dirty anymore.
The Raising Aspirations programme has to develop viable and relevant options for the fullest range of children. This Year 6 will be one of the first, subject to legislation, to raise the school participation age to 17, and trailblazers for the fuller range of vocational courses becoming available at Key Stage 3 and beyond.
Which of those jobs do you think it is? Do you think it's window cleaner, newsagent, crane driver or hotel porter?
The window cleaner.
Why do you think that?
That looks like some mud on the window.
Try that one then. Well done, that's excellent.
For the new curriculum arrangements to be beneficial, children will need to have a fuller idea of potential jobs to enable them to make relevant vocational choices.
Well, I didn't really know anything about mechanics before I came on here. Photographers, things like that. Tractor driver, I didn't even know that was a job.
We try to introduce the careers advice and the careers work we do with children in a variety of situations. They really enjoy the game type activities and the use of ICT, so that they're taking part in something practical. They're finding out about different job possibilities and different things that they can do in the future.
Hello everyone. Welcome to the Careers Morning that we're holding here in Swalwell.
The partnership with Head Start has enabled Gateshead to regularly deliver a carousel of high-impact, hands-on workshops designed for children to get a feel for the widest range of potential careers.
I think that the first aim is to support the school with the often problematic area of evidencing economic well-being and teaching economic well-being. It's also very important that the aspiration building element of the programme leads to, we think, increased achievement and attainment. So in that sense, it is very supportive of the school. The reason why Head Start focuses upon primary schools is that children are more receptive to this sort of message in Year 5 and Year 6. We're seeing an increasing level of complexity now in Key Stage 4. So many of these students leaving Year 6 will effectively be 24 months away from making some very vocational choices in Key Stage 3.
Is there anything that would stop a girl doing a particular engineer's job? No.
Boys and girls are just the same.
Just the same. Fantastic answer.
He's definitely an engineer, right? He's an engineer. He's an actor. No.
A lot of them say, like, I want to be a fireman, or, like, the typical ones that want to be our vet. So we try to say, you need your school, you need your maths, English and science.
She's a hairdresser.
There's definitely a stereotype. You get a lot of only men can do the job. So it's just trying to break that down.
This one, she actually is an engineer. She does the same job as me or Sarah.
Take your right hand, put on the person in front of you. So we've got 2 rows of liquids.
The facilitators are briefed in detail. They all have CRB checks. They all have certain qualities which I know that they can bring to these sessions. Namely, that they would have to be very passionate and enthusiastic about their occupational areas. And one of the other main reasons, I think, is that they provide tangible role models. I don't think there's anything wrong whatsoever in having more senior employees coming in as part of this. But where the facilitators are perhaps of a slightly younger age and they're able to relay their own experiences of schooling to the students and their own backgrounds and be anecdotal about that, then I think it has more resonance with the young learners.
So you feel like you're going to fall?
So this idea of making things hands-on, getting young people to experience success for themselves, to experiment with learning, to dress, to visualise in a particular way, is absolutely essential to the success of the workshops.
Only holding it because it's a short hold. Everybody wants to be a footballer, but it's breaking through to them and it's speaking to them sort of at their level. It's once you get them involved and you get their hands on, you've got them dressing up, then you seem to get them focused and their attention, and they're not thinking about playing football anymore, and it's, I can do this.
Make sure you mix all the talcum powder in really well.
A lot of the project has relied upon goodwill and the voluntary input of a number of employers, and the benefits for them are positive publicity, ensuring that they have a very much a community-facing element to what they do.
I think when you come to especially primary schools, one of the ideas is to have a lot of fun with the children, because they have this sort of stereotypical idea of this sort of mad scientist in a lab, and it's sort of trying to get them away from that idea. There's men and women that do the jobs, and you know, science isn't this sort of dull thing in the classroom where they're just having to learn things, that it goes on in real life, and once they get sort of hands-on, not only do they understand it a bit better, they sort of enjoy themselves a bit more and sort of bringing sort of science to life for them.
Squidgy.
I can see children changing their mind about different careers. It really opens them up in the start to ask more questions, and at the end of the sessions it's brilliant to get feedback. Motorbikes are fun and not just for boys, things like that, so it's really good.
Because these guys are in your way, what are you going to do?
Because the children know really where they're aiming for now. They know that they can aim for certain jobs. And you hear the children talking now about they'd like to go into engineering and architecture. It was unheard of before. So it has really given them something to aim for. And now that they know what school is all about, they know the pathway of how to achieve that.
So what do the children make of the experience?
I've seen lots of things today and it help us to know what I want when I grow up. Science looks fun. She wants to be a teacher.
There has been a massive impact on standards. It's that culture of change, and I can't do to I definitely can do, and I know how to achieve where I want to go.
Careers-related learning in primary schools fits in really well with the wider government agenda of closing the gap. It fits in with the Every Child Matters agenda, and it has a measurable impact on standards within schools, whether they're academic or emotional. I would recommend it absolutely to any local authority.
If they'd have come into school when I was at these age, it made a difference, which is why you've got to catch them in the primary school, because once they get to teenagers, they don't really give a monkeys.